This car gets a little bit of attention now that it's got the black stripes on it. It looks way fancier now.
It doesn't take much to impress him.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Sally's Speed Shop. My name is Jacob Davis, and this is Moby, our shop supervisor. We have our 1974 Dodge Challenger base model that we pulled out of a basement after sitting in there for over 20 years. It's only got 22,000 original miles on it. It is finished in powder blue, and while it does look cool, don't get me wrong, this car is absolutely amazing as it sits. I think it just needs a little something extra. So in this episode, we're going to focus on making this thing look a little bit tougher and build ourselves a poor man's TA clone. Me and Moby, we're going to get after it, polish the hood, polish where the stripe goes, and tomorrow we'll be taking it to Henson Signs and Graphics. So we're going to get after it. And boom, just like that. Got the entire hood of the car as well as the top of the fenders and the side where the stripe is gonna go all polished up with the Century polish from Sweet Patina. This stuff works really good. I will say I could probably stand to get a new buffer because this old Black & Decker handy buffer just doesn't quite cut it, literally. But I wanted to mainly get the car clean so that when the stripes go on, they'll have a nice, flat, smooth surface that's clean to stick to. So I'm not gonna put any wax on it or anything, just gonna cut it with polish and let it sit here. I will say this car was already in fantastic condition. It sat in the basement for about 25 years up until we bought it, and it had only been driven 200 miles in that time. The owner took fantastic care of it. His name was David, and he's the guy who hot rodded this thing. A lot of people in the first episode, which if you haven't watched that, you can go check it out with the link down in the description. We pull this thing out and it fires right up when we drive it home. They're like, there's no way that car sat for 20 years. And they're partially right. I didn't try to clickbait you guys or mislead you in any way. The car was in that basement for over 20 years, if not 25. I think the last time it was officially registered was 1997. But that being said, the guy who owned it loved it and took great care of it. And as a result, it was fired up from time to time. He drove it around the yard, but the last time this car was actually on the road was in the late 90s. So it's truly a car that was kind of tucked away from time, never got touched, and only has 22,000 original miles on it. Albeit, the engine has been changed, it's had a beefier transmission put in it, and he even put a narrowed 8 3/4 in it. So it's not an original car, but it legitimately has 22,000 original miles, which is amazing. So the story goes, a girl got the car from her parents when she was leaving for college, drove it to college for a year or two, and then just didn't like how much gas it was using, so it got parked under a carport. And obviously it had some interaction with the sun on some level because it had to be painted and have the interior redone. But we're gonna soup it up a little bit more. It's already been hot rodded a little bit. It's a base model. We don't have to feel bad about customizing it a little bit. And who doesn't want a TA Challenger in their life? Owning a TA Challenger in today's world is very expensive, so we're just gonna make our own. And I don't believe they ever made one in powder blue, so I think it's gonna look really cool with the right black accents. Now that we've got the Challenger cleaned up a little bit and the side of the car and the hood are ready for the graphics to go on, I figured I'd move on to the next step, and that is getting our TA spoiler mounted on the vehicle. This is the only thing that's not gonna be 100% reversible that we do to the car, because we're actually gonna drill some holes back here. I've been doing a bunch of measuring, marking out where the holes are gonna go, and this is gonna be my first hole that I drill right here. I still have to mark the others, and that will allow us to mount this thing here on the deck lid. Luckily, we have a 72 Challenger here that I've been doing some work on that already has a spoiler mounted to its deck lid. So I got to come over here and look at what they've done, and you can see somebody kind of just hacked in some holes to put this one on. I don't know how they did it from the factory. Don't know if that's truly a factory spoiler on this thing or not. I'm kind of guessing not, because even the Phillips head screws that are supposed to hold it on the outside are there on top rather than through this lip. So yeah, but as far as spacing goes, it allows me to figure that out. And I'm gonna set mine just a touch further back than this one is. So yeah, I'm gonna get to drilling some holes and see what we come up with. What do you think, bud? Yep, he's just ready to go for a car ride. Yep, this part is gonna feel especially wrong. Well, there we go. There is the first hole with really good access to the backside of what nut is gonna come through there. But there's the piece of the deck lid that I cut off. I'd say that's pretty nice. Probably could have cut it a touch smaller, but that's gonna make my life a lot easier. So now I just need to do that in all the other spots and we'll be good to go. But for now, it's pretty late. I think I'm just gonna do this one more, test fit the deck lid and see how it looks. So yeah, let's get to it. Morning, everybody. It's a beautiful new day here in Georgia. Got the Challenger parked right out front here in the shop, and I'm about to jump in, fire this thing up, and we're gonna head over to see Jeremy at Henson Signs and Graphics to get this thing looking a little tougher. We're gonna hit the road. It's about a 15-minute drive over there, and then we'll be throwing some vinyl on this thing, making it look a lot different than it looks right now. Here we go. Well, there we go, just like that. The car made the trip over here to Henson Signs and Graphics, no problem at all. Oh, and they got another Challenger here. I gotta say, we're not gonna be going with the orange camo wrap. Hate to disappoint you guys. It's gonna just get some black accents. All right, so I made it around back here at Henson's, and here's his killer 54 Dodge service truck. That thing is so good. He's planning to put a little Cummins 2.8 in this thing. Right now it's still got the original flathead, but what a cool little truck. So they're shuffling stuff around to make room for the car inside, and then we'll get to work. But you know, a place with a boom lift like this knows what's going on. I mean, even their boom lift is cool. So this is Jeremy here at Henson Signs and Graphics. He started this place, and now it's turned into this awesome location where you can get all kinds of crazy stuff done. So what kind of work do y'all do mainly?
Everything.
Signs, vinyl.
Signs, graphics, car wraps.
He actually made an acrylic sign for my shop that's hanging up. That's really cool. So I'll put a picture of that right here.
We just added a laser, so we're printing and cutting.
That's pretty cool.
That's acrylic.
They're doing all kinds of cool stuff here, but he didn't have the patterns for the TA stripe, so my dad apparently went and just bought these off some website, I don't know, but they're gonna help me install them because this was an air release, so you gotta get it right, and I'm no expert on this stuff, and these guys know what they're doing. So one of those guys, Avery, is gonna be helping me in the back with the car, and we're gonna get these laid on the side and some matte black vinyl laid on the hood. My goodness, that changes this car so much. So Justin and Avery did a fantastic job installing these graphics, and I gotta say, it doesn't look like a wimpy chick car anymore. The powder blue actually looks really fantastic with all the black accents on it. So got the TA stripe down the side, got the matte black hood to match, and then obviously the little TA spoiler, but that is a huge difference. Yep, I think it's safe to say the old girl looks a lot tougher now. Man. Just a minimal amount of effort, like, you know, maybe 8 hours worth of work total for a completely different looking automobile. I know I will never own a TA in my life. They have gotten to be far too expensive, but to be able to have a car that looks like a TA, obviously we don't have the snorkel style 6-pack scoop on it, but you know, the flat hood looks pretty good. So I'm gonna call this a win. This looks absolutely fantastic, and I could not be happier with it.
So one of the things that makes this car special to me, I mentioned in the first video that my brother was no longer with us. He had a Challenger when he was like 20, 21 years old, and so I remember that car, I remember him working on it in the driveway, and I was like the little kid that like was giving him wrenches and stuff, and it was really cool. So it brings back a lot of those memories. But my brother at 26 years old committed suicide, and this car really brings me back to that. And so for anybody out there who's contemplating that, I just want to say, realize what it does to those who you leave behind. People love you and care about you and don't want you to go anywhere. They want you in their life. So, well, like from a spiritual standpoint, it's not good. But then you also eliminate all the future good events in your life. So there's a number, 988, I believe. It's a new thing instead of 911. It's like a suicide prevention hotline. So if you're having any of those thoughts, you need to talk to anyone.
There's a lot to live for out there. Obviously, you get to enjoy cars, you get to enjoy family, you get to go on trips, all kinds of good memories that you're gonna miss out on.
That's another thing. There's a lot of good things you're gonna miss if you make that ultimate decision. It's too late. You can't change anything from that point forward. One thing I've always said, if I ever saw my brother again, first thing I'd do is just like hug him and tell him I love him, and then I'd beat the crap out of him for doing what he did.
Yeah, there's a lot of mixed emotions around stuff like that. But if that's ever something that has weighed on your mind, you've considered, definitely reach out to people, ask them for help. There's lots of people that love you, whether you know it or not. But anyway, enough of the heavy content. We're gonna get back to car-related things because this is my dad's first time seeing the car with the matte black graphics on it. What do you think?
I think it looks great. It was a little too much blue, and so, yeah, it just makes it look a lot tougher because it was a little too like baby soft.
Yeah,
know?
powder blue, like a powder puff girl.
Like baby powder, yeah.
Yeah, and according to some comments, or at least one comment on the first video, this is not a muscle car. What do you think now? Does it look like a muscle car?
I mean, you know, it's a muscle car like those suits you put on that have fake muscles. Yeah.
Yeah.
So exterior is a muscle car.
I like it, but I will say, if this was a Challenger with an inline six or a Charger with an inline six, yeah, that might be a stretch of a muscle car, but it's got a hot rodded 340 with a narrowed 8 3/4 and an A999 transmission. Like it
gets along pretty good.
It's peppy.
It's not, you know, it's not a 440. I get it, but still.
But the TAs came with a 340, so it's accurate.
The TAs were only 1970. I thought the chart.
I don't think there has ever been a TA in powder blue though.
Probably not, because according to our buddy Bryce, this is only a 1974 color.
Yeah, just 1 year only color.
In 74, they only did somewhere between 11 and 16,000, something like that. Pretty low numbers compared to the other years.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a pretty rare car. Although the 74 is not the most desirable year, I kind of like it. But we're gonna take this car to a little car show and run some errands in it. And then I guess that'll kind of wrap up this video. But we wanted to show you a very quick transformation of this, you know, really base model car into a TA clone with just a, like, I don't know, $500 worth of modifications.
And then I bought a flip top gas cap.
Oh yeah, we still have to put that on. So
it was $100 through Dante's Parts in New Jersey, because they had it in stock. A lot of the other places didn't have it. Supply chain issues.
Well, let's head to a car show. Fire it up.
I didn't even touch the gas, that's a false start.
Every time. So other than when you bought this car and drove it for like 2 miles, you haven't driven it.
No, I haven't.
So how do you feel driving this thing?
It drives great. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing how good this car drives. And obviously that's not gonna translate through on video, but the steering is tight, the suspension is nice and stiff. It's got torsion bars out of a Hemi car, so they're beefier. It's got leaf springs out of a big block car, and it actually has like a factory style like load helper shock that has a coil spring around it. And man, this thing is like, you have the utmost confidence driving this car.
It also
feels solid.
Yeah, I think he said also a Hemi sway bar up front too.
Okay.
Beefier sway bar, yeah.
So it's got a good handling kit for back in the day. Obviously it's all still stock style stuff, but you would be amazed at how nice this car drives.
Yeah.
It's not every day you work on your car at a gas station for no reason other than aesthetics. We were about to put some more gas in it, and I decided it was time to put the fancy flip-up fuel door on it because, you know, that's very important. So, thank you, I appreciate it. So I'm literally installing a new fuel door on the car here in a parking lot. Thank you, I appreciate it. This car gets a little bit of attention now that it's got the black stripes on it. Trying to do this one-handed is fairly difficult, actually. Just gotta tighten up the screws. We'll be good to go. It looks way fancier now. And we've got some racetrack cheeseburgers, which if you've never had one, they're actually pretty delicious.
Yeah, they are.
But look at that. Dresses up the side of the car even more now.
It doesn't take much to impress him.
There we go, my dad's parking the car. We made it out to Cruising Coweta, which is here at the Coweta County Fairgrounds. Get to show off our brand new black accents on our TA. So, drove totally fine coming over here, and now get to enjoy a little car show.
Maybe it's first car show ever.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
It could possibly be its first car show ever. It's been in a basement for 24, 25 years. So, there we go. Getting to hang out with a bunch of other classic cars. Well, there we go, just like that. Our 74 Challenger has a brand new makeover. Sure, it's not a real TA, but man, does it look killer with these black accents. So that's a pretty easy way to take a car that was a base model car, didn't really have anything special about it other than the fact that it's been tucked away for like 25 years, and turn it into something that legitimately looks fantastic and gets attention and shows. Sure, if you're a purist, you might not enjoy this, but I think it's pretty cool, and for 500 bucks, it completely transformed the look of this car. And now we get to just enjoy driving it and have ourselves a TA, because you can't generally afford a TA. They're about $100,000 now, so this is the poor man's TA. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy the video. Please remember to hit that subscribe button. It does a lot more for us than you know, allows us to do more cool projects like this and take you guys along for the ride. So drop a like down there. Let me know in the comments what you liked, what you didn't like, and we'll see you on the next one.